everyone, my name is Caitlin, and my group members Leaf, Sarush, Shay, and Georgina and I were partnered with the Round Hill Agricultural Renaissance Foundation to create plans for a food forest.
Through our first meeting with the Round Hill Agricultural Renaissance Foundation, we learned about some of their history, including how they were created. They were first made as a parent council group for the Round Hill School. They were made in order to defend the school from being closed down. They were successful in this and managed to implement more agricultural-based programs for the school. Since then, they have had multiple successes through opening a 7,000 square foot community garden, which allows people to have access to lots of vegetables. And now they wish to create a community food forest, which will be able to produce lots of things such as fruits, berries, nuts, and herbs to their community. Through our meeting, we also learned about their goals for the food forest. These goals include biodiversity, as they want as many possible plant species. We also learned about their want to be organic, which will include having less pesticides and overall better plant health. They also want the forest to be self-sustaining, as they mainly operate on volunteers, and if the forest is self-sustaining, that will cut down on the amount of hours needed. With these goals in mind, we created a comprehensive guide to creating a food forest in central Alberta. This presentation offers a short overview of what is to offer.
So, what is a food forest? A food forest is a permaculture garden filled with perennial plants that are native to the region, most of which are food-bearing. They're built to produce an abundance of food and also to be self-sustaining so that there's minimal aftercare needed. Each food forest is planted in accordance to the creator's artistic vision, so no two food forests are the same. Some benefits of food forests are that they produce fresh local produce that is readily available to the community. They're usually completely organic, and they help to support the local economy. Food forests help to combat climate change by being self-sustaining, so they mimic natural forests. They don't need tilling or anything like that, and they also use climate-specific plants so that they don't need any controls such as irrigation. They use companion planting for pest prevention and to attract advantageous animals so that there's no need for pesticides or other environmental contaminants.
Before planting begins, the land needs to be properly prepared. To prepare the land, you need to consider soil health and permanent infrastructure. Taking time to enhance the soil will allow for more successful growing in the future. The goal for the soil is to remove any vegetation growing wild and create a moisture-holding, fungus-rich soil that food forests thrive upon. The soil is a one-year commitment. To unlock the greatest growing potential, 1 full year should be taken to enhance the soil. By using a full year, the fungus that the plants will rely upon will be able to establish successful and permanent communities. Permanent infrastructure is the next step in preparing land. The important structures to consider are the things that cannot be moved after planting has begun. This is natural water collection, paths, roads, and microclimate shelters. Natural rainwater collection is a sustainable way to provide water to the forest, and the soil is the largest and cheapest way to store it. Here you could consider creating a collection pond or landscaping a natural water drainage system. Paths are among the next thing to be placed. They provide access to everywhere and provide extra means of water drainage, especially if paths are made with gravel. Next structures to be considered are those involved with the microclimate.
A microclimate refers to a small area that's temperature and weather is different from the normal climate of the broader surrounding area. The purpose of creating a microclimate within a food forest is to protect food-bearing plants from weather damage caused by wind, frost, excessive heat or cold, heavy rain, hail, or a number of other factors. A microclimate can be created through man-made structures such as row covers, fences, cold frames, or greenhouses, and also by natural structures such as trees planted to create a wind block, vines covering trellises to create fences, and through companion planting, which will be talked about a little bit later.
So once the land has been prepped and the infrastructure is in place, planting can finally begin. Because diversity was an important factor of the Round Hill Agricultural Renaissance Foundation's vision, we had to identify the species that could grow and thrive in the climate of central Alberta. According to Plant Hardiness of Canada, Round Hill is located in Zone 3B on the Plant Hardiness Zone Scale. We used this zone ID to determine which plants can and cannot grow in Round Hill. So for vegetables, there's a lot of diversity. Lettuce, beets, carrots, cabbages, onions, squash, potatoes, corn, and even herbs such as cilantro and basil are just some of the vegetables that can grow in central Alberta. Some of these are harder to grow than others, but they would all really benefit from companion planting techniques, which we will touch on in a bit. Moving on to nuts, while nuts often thrive in warmer climates, some can still be grown in Zone 3B under the right conditions. So you're never going to be able to grow pistachios in Round Hill, but you can grow things like walnuts, hazelnuts, pecans, chestnuts, or acorns.
Moving on to fruits and berries. When we first researched this topic, we were unsure how many fruits and berries would be able to grow with our -30 winters. However, as we researched, we discovered that there's actually many types of fruits and berries that are able to grow here. Beginning with fruits, there was many that were well known to us and we see every day, such as apples, which I think most people have seen an apple. Even within these though, there was also specific species of apples that are able to grow, such as Honeycrisp and Harcourt. Some less known fruits that we also are able to grow include plums. For berries, there's also many that are able to grow here that we were also aware of, including strawberries and Saskatoons. A berry that I was unsure of before was a haskip, which is very suited to cold Alberta.
So what is companion planting? Companion species are those that complement each other's growth when planted in close proximity to each other. While some plants make great companions, others do not, as many plants actually inhibit the growth of other plants. So it's important to have knowledge of proper companion planting techniques to ensure the highest crop productivity. There are many factors involved in companion planting, and if the proper steps are taken, the food forest will reach a higher level of sustainability. Sun exposure, water and soil needs, as well as pest deterrence are all important factors in companion planting. For example, if you scatter onions throughout the food forest, there won't be a high concentration of the onion smell in one particular spot to attract Delia antigua flies that lead to maggots. Various techniques can be utilized to reduce the amount of fertilizer used to nourish the food forest and ensure that different plants are having their individual needs met in the best way possible. By planting good companion species in close proximity to each other, we increase the potential for sustainability. Beneficial as well as damaging plant pairings are listed in our guide.
Round Hill Agricultural Renaissance Foundation has the ultimate goal of a sustainable, low maintenance, and organic food forest. The ideal way to achieve these goals is to let nature do most of the work. What this means is we want to imitate nature as best we can. Allow the soil to attract more fungus. Lay mulch to trap and hold water. And use animals to your advantage. Birds are excellent for pest control, so plant berries for them. Bees are amazing pollinators, so plant flowers and other flowering plants to attract them. Reusing everything is also an important strategy. Use prunings and dead plants to create compost that adds natural nutrients back to the soil. All of these strategies allow for nature to do more work, which means less work for the volunteers of Round Hill Agricultural Renaissance Foundation and a more sustainable food forest.
Another area of focus in ensuring long-term plant health is having adequate knowledge of possible pests and diseases that might be problematic for the particular species that will be planted. Pests such as apple maggots and apple scabs, Saskatoon and gooseberry sawflies, or cherry fruit flies are just some of the common garden pests that affect plants in Alberta. Many of these pests overwinter in plant debris or thrive under specific soil conditions, so having proper awareness of these conditions can help prevent them before they can become a large-scale problem. We discuss how to identify these pests and the methods to deal with them in our guide so that the longevity and health of the food forest can be guaranteed.
Through our meeting with the Round Hill Agricultural Renaissance Foundation, as well as our additional research, we made a list of goals that we would like to have in our comprehensive guide to creating a food forest in Central Alberta. These goals included land preparation, microclimates, suitable plant species, companion species, and sustainable aftercare, all of which we mentioned in this presentation. With these in mind, we have hoped to create a guide that allows anyone to create a manageable and healthy food forest in Central Alberta.